Hey guys, Brittany Clues here, week 3. I am sorry again, apologizing about my voice. I am coming off of a cold, and so my voice sounds a little crappy. Okay, working on Keri's images. So she is shooting with a Canon 6D. This is 70 to 200 millimeter lens, 2.8 and 1/160. I think that's a great lens. I think you've got a great aperture for one subject, and the 1/160 is a little bit slow because my rule of the lens is you take the highest millimeter of the lens and you double it, and that's what you want your shutter speed to not fall below. So essentially you don't want this under 1/400 because it could make a little bit of camera shake, a little extra noise. Basically you're just not getting enough light to really get a completely sharp image. So so let's talk about this. So this is straight out of camera, and then here is the edit. So you didn't realize how blue the catch lights were in her eyes until you uploaded it. Hey, no worries, that's a pretty easy fix. Just go in there and make those white again, or just pull the blue out. You can dodge them and turn them white, or you can, dropper it and figure out what color blue it is and remove all that blue from it. So a couple of different options there. So you really like the matte on some of your pictures, but usually prefer a bright, bold, crisp look. Not sure about the angle the light's hitting her. Was probably a bit too bright at the time I took this. Is it okay to mix these edits in with your usual stuff? So, yes, I kind of have two thoughts on that. Maybe one or two images here and there that are a little bit different than the rest is fine, but for the most part, people want very consistent images because typically they want to print them and hang them together in one place. And so if they all look too different, then they won't go together, like on a collage on a wall or in an album. And it's just a little bit harder to sell some of that stuff. So I think it's best to kind of come up with one consistent editing style and do that. I show 30 images, so pretty much 25 of my 30 images look almost identical to each other in terms of tone, color, brightness, all of that. And then 5 I either do black and whites or something a little bit more artistic or sun flare, but usually 25 out of the 30 are exact. So I hope that helps. But and you never ask too much about this. You guys can ask me anything. I wish her eyes were looking up at me because I'm so big with the eyes and that being the connection. It's one thing if she would have been looking totally down and you would have really gotten that kind of artistic feel with the eyelashes and everything. But the fact that she's just almost looking here makes me feel like I just don't quite have her attention. And so, for something like this, I love the angle that you've done of her head and her kind of shoulders. It would have been awesome to keep her right here and say, look right at me. So just her eyes move over. And that would have been such a pretty kind of juxtaposition of her face because her face and her body are kind of leaning one way, but her eyes are kind of pulling back towards you. So I think that would have looked really pretty. So maybe consider something like that for next time. But love the matte look. All right. This looks like a pretty senior Canon 6D, 70 to 200 millimeter lens, 2.8, 1/160, ISO 125. You like the lighting and the creamy background. Had her stand on steps. You were at the top. At the bottom was a brick walkway, which was shaded, which seemed to help prop her a little bit more. Her skin tone was hard for me. She had spent quite a bit of time in the sun or a tanning bed. You wanted to tone down the reds in the skin. I'm not sure if she's done a little bit more. She's looking a little too red, especially in this post. Okay, so here is the straight out of the camera, and here is the edit. So let's talk about straight out of the camera. You've got a really flattering, pretty angle here, not to mention this is like my favorite color in the world. Definitely shooting down on people. You've got this really defined jawline. That's something I'm always looking for. Again, our body's kind of facing this way, our head's tilting back. There's a little tiny shadow that's being caused over here, and it's because the light is on this side of her face. So I would have them really pull their face back even more, just really kind of crank that neck back towards you, and it's just going to put even better, prettier, what I think prettier, flatter light on their face. And it's also going to keep eye distortion down. When her face is turned away, this eye is going to look a little bit smaller than this one. When they're straight on at you on the same plane, they're going to look the same size. So I think that's nice for that kind of parallelism. You're right, I love the creamy background that you've done here. Almost looks like you're in a studio backdrop. What you could have done, a couple of things to make her skin a little bit brighter and less red. You could have raised the curves a little tiny bit, or you can go to your hue saturation adjustment layer, pick a color you know it's not, like green or blue or cyan, and then there's 3 little dropper tools that you'll see. Pick the dropper tool on the far left, click it on her skin, and it's going to give you a value. It's probably like red 2s. And then essentially using your saturation slider bar, you can slide it up and down to till you get it to a place where you feel like, you don't want her skin to look kind of dead and ashy, but you just want to also pull out of those reds a little bit. And then what you would do is you would get your white soft brush and paint the color back in from anywhere it took reds out that you want reds back in, like her shirt. So hope that helps, but beautiful girl, and I really like that image. I love this girl. I think I've seen her in your work before. I want to photograph this girl. So what do you like about this image? You like her pose, the brick, and the wood background makes kind of slightly edgy to you. I agree. You wish her wasn't covering up her left eye as much. I also agree. Cognizant of that in the future. That's just one of those details. Question about the edit. Does it pop enough? Contrast okay. Looks like her right arm is picking up some color reflection from the orange brick. It attempted to decrease the saturation, but it doesn't look like I accomplished much. Too overdone. So here's straight out of the camera. So let's talk about this real fast. Great image. I mean, this is super cute. I agree with you. I wish that her hair was out of her face a little bit more because she's so cute, number one. And I just really would love that sort of connection with her eyes on the photo. But hey, live and learn, right? Next one. The only other thing that I see is I can see her bra. I always try to look for bras because they're so hard to edit out and they almost never look natural. So when you see that, run in there and just pull that shirt up a little tiny bit, or have her pull her bra down just a tiny bit, and that will help that. But the other thing you could do too is her arm back here, it looks a little hidden. So have her, since her legs popped out so cute here, just have her put her hand on her leg. And so you just see that other hand too, and it'll just make for kind of some interesting kind of look with her body and everything too. I love the brick. I love her lean. I love the wood. I probably would clone this out of it since you have so much wood. It just kind of looks random. So I would just get rid of it and let the focus be all about her. You've straightened it up. I love that. She's not completely in the middle. I love that. She's just a little off to the side. You've got 2 different textures that are really contrasting. I think that makes for a really interesting photo. So great job on that. She does look a little bit contrasty. Oh, I'm so sorry about my voice, guys. She does look a little contrasty. So what you could have done is pulled your curves up a little bit, or you could have gone to your level slider and pulled your middle level off to the left a little bit, and then pulled your highlights to the left a little bit. That would brighten that up. You could also do a sharpen defog on her, and that would help. In terms of popping the color, you can grab your sponge brush and at a low opacity paint on color, or you could even go to your hue saturation slider and slide up your saturation of the overall image and then just erase out her skin so everything else pops. So I hope that helps, and I cannot wait to see what you have next week. Thanks for putting up with my crazy voice. Bye!